Hey, what's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another video. My name is Lion and I make videos on relationship tips and advice specifically catered for women from a perspective of a man. So if that's something that you're into or you want to learn more about, please consider subscribing to my channel and hit that notification bell on so you get notified every time I post a new video. Alright, so based on a lot of your questions and comments, I see that there's a lot of frustration and a lot of misunderstandings when it comes to online dating. So I figured I'd make this video to give you my 10 commandments, my 10 most important and most valuable tips and advice on online dating, specifically catered to women. So ladies, if you have tried the online dating game in the past or are currently going through it right now and are left with a little bit of frustration and misunderstanding, I think this video is really going to be for you. Alright, so based on the sheer amount of information that I'm trying to convey in this video, I think this video might be a little bit lengthy and maybe a little bit longer than my usual videos. But I really think that there's a lot of value in there if you watch it from beginning to the end. So if you need to take a break sometime in the middle and go do other stuff and come back to it at a later time, I recommend you do that because I really think that you're going to benefit from all the information that I'm going to convey in this video. Alright guys, so let's get started with number one. Alright, so number one is don't drag it out. And I see this problem happening to a lot of women. Don't drag it out. Don't feel like you need to find out everything and anything about the person before you meet them face to face. Don't try to do all of that just through online messaging and texting and going back and forth. You're just going to waste a whole bunch of your time. Instead, try to capitalize on the fact while the attraction and the interest is still there on both sides to see the person face to face before that attraction dies down. So you're only really going to get to know the person once you see them face to face. Trying to figure the person out completely just through text messaging isn't possible. I know that some of you feel like you're going to be wasting your time going on a date with a person that you don't know whether or not is going to be compatible with you. But I think that once you see them face to face, that's the only indication that's going to tell you whether or not that person is going to be for you or not for you and you should be moving on. So as soon as you feel that you're going to be safe on that first date, as soon as you feel that there's enough trust between you and the other person and that you're going to be safe going out with that person on a date, to a restaurant, a bar, whatever it is, to a park, do that as quickly as possible. And then based on that date, you are both going to know whether or not you're going to continue dating or you're going to just break it off and continue seeing other people. All right, let's jump into number two. Build your dating profile around what you want to attract. Now listen to this again if you need to, but build your dating profile around what you want to attract. And I see a lot of people are really making mistakes with this one, both on the male side as well as the female side. You have to make your profile around the type of interactions, around the type of people that you would like to attract. So I think that a lot of us kind of feel that the acceptable way to build your profile is to put your sexiest, your most beautiful pictures. So it's going to be often pictures of you going into a bar or a restaurant, dressed up in a very sexy dress, trying to really put forward your sex appeal. Really build your profile around what you want to attract. So if you like, I don't know, walks on the beach, or if you like walking your dog, or if you like traveling, or I don't know, playing sports, whatever it is that you are interested in, whatever it is that you want to attract, if you're looking for a partner who's going to do all these things with you, build your profile around those things. Mention them in your description. Put pictures of you going on walks or traveling, whatever it is that you're doing, trying to find other people who are going to have similar interests, who are going to share the same passions and are basically going to do these things with you, if that's what you want to do. And I think that looking for a partner, trying to find somebody who's basically passionate about the same things as you are, is really just going to give you that edge. Is really going to give you that edge into building a relationship with someone. So again, build your entire profile around what you want to attract. So if you want to attract men who are only going to be interested in your sex appeal, build your profile around your sex appeal. But if you want other things, build your profile around those things. Hope that makes sense. Alright guys, so let's jump into number three. Now number three kind of makes sense, but I see a lot of people going hit and miss with this one. So be open and be honest. Now when it comes to your pictures, when it comes to your description, once you are even talking and chatting with the person, be open and be honest. Be open and proud of what you look like. Be honest with your appearance and take pride in your appearance. Take pride in what your face looks like. Take pride in what your body looks like. Don't hide behind filters. Don't hide behind furniture, or don't just take pictures, from the waist up, or pictures from your neck up, or whatever it is. I see a lot of people are doing that. But that's really not going to help you, because the person is either going to like you for what you are and what you look like and what you sound like and everything about you, or they won't. And eventually you are going to have to meet this person face to face. So be proud of what you look like, and also be very proud in what you believe and what you think. Don't just say things based on what you think the other person is going to want to hear or would like to hear. Be honest with how you feel, be honest with what you believe in, and be honest about what you want from this relationship as well, right from the get-go. If you're going to try to filter yourself, or if you're going to try to basically, sound or basically say what you think the other person wants to hear, eventually is going to find out, and that relationship is really not going to go anywhere. So again, be open with who you are, what you want, and be honest as well. So show us pictures of your face. Don't hide behind filters. Show us pictures of your body as well. We want to know what you look like, and we are going to find out eventually. And this really goes both ways, men and women. I see a lot of people putting pictures of them, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, or whatever it is, or them looking nothing like what they look like in real life. And that might get you that, text message, or that might get you that match, but eventually what you are looking for is a relationship, and that's definitely not going to work. If the other person feels like he was cheated, or he was catfished into a certain conversation, or whatever it is, that's not going to last. So again, be open and be honest. All right, so number 4 is drop "this is my type" and "this is not my type," and drop the dating checklist. Don't go into a conversation, don't go into online dating with a very structured idea of what you think you want in your future potential partners. So if you're going into online dating with a pre-structured type and a pre-structured checklist, thinking that, okay, it needs to be of a certain height, or it needs to make a certain amount of money, or have a certain kind of job, or have blonde hair or blue eyes, or drive a certain car, whatever it is, all you're doing is really limiting yourself and shooting yourself in the foot, basically not allowing yourself to really meet a lot of great guys. Trying to figure out what you want, what you don't want ahead of time is really not a winning strategy. Go into it open-minded. Go into it without a type, and you'll be very, very surprised on how many great guys you're going to be meeting. All right, so number 5, know what you want, but don't rush it. And I think this one really applies a lot more to women than it does to men. Don't go into online dating trying to close the deal as quickly as possible. If you're coming out of a long-term relationship, or you haven't been single for a while and you really want, to be in a relationship right now, don't jump into online dating thinking that you're going to find someone just like that and you're going to jump right into a relationship, one more time really quickly, just because these people are online dating and are also looking to build a relationship with someone. Just because you are on an online dating site does not mean that you can skip all these stages of dating. Meeting the person, getting to know the person, developing and building that attraction on both sides, before you are really jumping into a relationship. The time that is needed to really build a long-term and a lasting relationship is not going to change just because you went on online dating. So again, know what you want, have an understanding of what you are looking for, but don't try to jump into a relationship as quickly as possible. Go into online dating thinking that you are just going to meet people. You're going to meet people and maybe build friendships, and hopefully more than that. But don't go into it thinking that, okay, I need to, lock somebody in as quickly as possible. All right, so number 6, and I actually get tons of questions about this one. Don't be afraid to make the first move. I think that in our society, we always feel like, the men have to make the first move. Men have to ask you on the first date. They have to make the plans of where and what you're going to do on the first date. And they have to make the first contact as well and say hi for the first time. And are going to have to sort of pick you up, send you a pickup line or something funny, and they have to impress you in order for you to give them the time of the day. And I think that this is where a lot of women go wrong when it comes to online dating. A lot of guys just lose interest because you are not giving them enough. And although you are interested and want the person to sort of contact you and make plans and ask you out, you are not going to do that because of that, old school perception that men have to do, at least at the beginning, all the work. They have to ask you out, they have to basically arrange everything, and that's your only indication that they are really interested in you. But I think that when it comes to online dating, especially today, you really have to be very comfortable with making the first move sometimes. If you're interested in a person, and if you think that that person might be interested in you, or even if not, don't be afraid to make the first move. You really have nothing to lose. When it comes to online datings, unfortunately, a lot of it is just a numbers game. So if you feel like you found somebody or you match with someone that you kind of want to hang out with and kind of want to explore a little bit more to see if you could build a relationship with that person, don't be afraid to make plans. Don't be afraid to ask him out and tell him, hey, and we even make plans of what you're going to do and where you're going to go on that first date. So if you match with someone and you had a conversation and you enjoyed it, why not just ask him to go and have a cup of coffee or go to the movies or go walk in the park or whatever it is that you would feel comfortable with doing on the first date. But don't be afraid to make that first move and ask him out. Don't always expect him to do that. I think that a lot of men also lose interest if they made that first move, or if they tried for the first time and you weren't available, you couldn't do it, or you couldn't make it. They're going to take that as a sign that you might not be interested in them and are just going to either ghost you or just stop texting you and really put a lot less effort into that whole relationship or into that whole conversation. So if you're interested in a person, don't be afraid to make the first move. Don't be afraid to come out a little bit out of your comfort zone and just ask him out on a date first. And it's also a huge turn on for guys if you make plans for the first date. If you decide to go, hiking, or if you decide to go something, we're going to take that as a sign that you have an interesting life, that you enjoy doing things on your own, enjoy doing things with your friends, and we're going to take that as a huge turn on. And also, if you take initiative and reverse that whole dynamic of men having to ask women out every single time, you're going to basically, in a very good way, put us off guard, and we would be interested in just exploring that kind of personality and really exploring a person and getting to know a person who is confident enough within themselves to make the first move. So don't be afraid to do that. All right, so number 7, leave the very serious conversations for later and leave them for when you actually meet the person face to face. I think a lot of women feel like they need to get all that serious stuff out as quickly as possible. I feel like a lot of women try to, talk about all of their past relationships, about, their exes, about sort of what happened, what are they afraid of, what are they scared of happening again, and are going to also ask the guy all of those things right off the bat, trying to clear all of these things up at the very, very beginning. All that's really doing is killing all that attraction, and it's killing all that interest from the very get-go. Leave all of these very serious conversations for a little bit later. At the beginning, really focus on building that attraction, of really making it very easy for both of you to communicate and both of you just to, get to know the other person on a very kind of fun and interesting and attractive way. Don't try to, get into the nitty-gritty, all that serious stuff right from the beginning. Take your time, get to know the person, meet them once, meet them twice, you go on a couple of dates before you drop all of those serious conversations on them. Don't feel like you need to get all of these, serious and heavy things out off of your chest as quickly as possible just to see whether or not you guys are going to be compatible. At the beginning, really focus on having fun and enjoying the conversation and really building attraction. Allowing him to have the chance to build attraction and you to build attraction as well. So keep the conversation light, keep the conversation interesting and fun and flirty, and just try to enjoy the process of getting to know the person and really sort of starting to fall for a person and just starting to, get to know them before you drop all of that serious stuff. All right, so let's get into number 8. And number 8 is kind of building on number 7 a little bit. And number 8 is just have fun and enjoy yourself. Don't go onto dates and don't start online dating thinking that it's going to be like an interrogation or it's going to be like a job interview. Don't go in there with a checklist. Don't go in there, trying to ask all your questions and see whether or not you're going to be compatible. Really, I think a lot of the frustration that comes from online dating comes from the fact that we come into it with expectations and come into it for the wrong reasons. We're trying to jump into online dating because we are frustrated that we cannot find someone in the real world or whatever it is, or we are coming out of a long-term relationship and are trying to replace that person as quickly as possible. Instead, with online dating, just like with regular dating, our goal should be at the beginning to just really get to know people and really just share, some moments and some conversations with people, have fun and enjoy ourselves. So again, go into it without that interview or interrogation mentality. Enjoy the process. You can't just skip stages. The first stage of the relationship is really to get to know the person and build attraction. Don't try to skip that and jump right into, okay, are we compatible? Let's start dating as quickly as possible. That's not how it works. So go in it to have fun and meet people, build friendships, and hopefully maybe build more than that. Alright, so we're moving along our top 10 and we're getting closer to the end of this video. So if you are still watching this video, thank you very much. And hopefully you are taking some value from these points. Alright, so let's talk about number 9. Number 9, and I think number 9 is one of the main reasons for a lot of frustration for both men and women who go and explore online dating. Number 9 is don't take things too seriously. When it comes to online dating, a lot of it is a numbers game. Unfortunately or fortunately, whatever it is a numbers game. So if you feel like somebody, you know, drops out of our inbox or stops talking to us, or we feel like we're being ghosted all of a sudden for no reason, or if somebody, you know, unmatches from us or whatever it is, we feel like we need to take this personally. We feel like there's a problem within us, that we did something wrong, or we said something wrong, we didn't say enough, or we said too much, or whatever it is. We start double thinking, we start, you know, going back into those conversations, trying to understand what went wrong, when in reality, it's a lot simpler than that. There's just a lot of people on these online dating sites, and a lot of people just basically go from one person to the other as quickly as possible. They try to meet as many people as possible. And although I don't think that they're basically taking advantage of their time correctly, because if you just continue jumping from one person to the other without really giving anybody a chance, you're just eventually are going to waste a lot of your time. But that doesn't change the fact that a lot of people see it this way, and a lot of people are basically jumping from one person to the next as quickly as possible. What you have to understand though is that it is not your fault. You did not do something wrong, you didn't do something, you didn't say something wrong or whatever it is. Most of the time it's just people are misusing these online dating apps, on these online dating websites, and you just happen to be on the other end of that. So again, don't take these things personally. And what I see a lot of the times is that this frustration and this misunderstanding of sort of what's going on, we start doubting ourselves, and that really affects our next conversation. That really affects the next person we meet, because we're going into this next conversation with that frustration already built in us, because we feel that this is going to happen again. And it might happen again, it might not happen again, but if we don't continue trying, and if we don't continue going into it with an open mind, we're really not going to give ourselves a chance to really meet someone. Alright, so last but definitely not least on our list, say that 3 times, is number 10, and number 10 is don't assume exclusivity. Just because you start having these great conversations with a guy, so you might, you know, be chatting for a little while, so you might be talking for a few days, a few weeks, maybe even a few months. You might have even went on a first date or a couple of dates, and at that point you feel like, okay, you are building a relationship with that person. So you might have, you know, stopped talking to all of these other guys that you were talking to before you started talking to this guy. So just because you had all that, and that might be surprising to you, does not mean that he's on the same page with you. So don't just assume if on your side you stop talking to all of these other guys that he did the same. Don't assume exclusivity. Don't assume that just because you're having these conversations with him and just because you went on a couple of dates that he also stopped talking to everyone else. Because the moment you will realize, or the moment he will tell you or will slip out that he is talking to another girl right now, or you went on a date with somebody else, that's going to crush you. How do you deal with that? Don't do things with him that you wouldn't do unless you were exclusive. So again, don't assume exclusivity. Let him come to you and tell you, okay, he wants to build a relationship with you now, and he does not want to, you know, see any other people right now. He does not want to date anybody right now. He's going to delete his profile on the dating websites. He's not going to be talking to other girls, and he wants to try and enter this committed relationship with you at that point. But don't just assume that just because this is how you feel. So again, either ask him, where do you stand? And again, don't do that, you know, too early. Don't do that, you know, after one date, or don't do that, you know, before you even meet him face to face, or even after a couple of dates. Give it a little bit of time. Enjoy the process. Get to know the person. Build on that attraction. At the point where you feel that you are becoming exclusive is a point where you feel like you always have standing plans. If you see each other every single weekend, if you talk to each other, you know, every day, and if you don't feel like you need to make plans with him in order to, you know, spend time with him because it's just a given, at that point you should understand that, you know, these conversations could be approached. So at that point, if he doesn't approach you and ask you to be exclusive, you can approach him and ask him these same questions and see how he feels and see if he wants to take this relationship to the next level. Don't do things with him that you wouldn't do, and that could vary for, you know, from one person to the next, but don't do things with him that you would personally not do unless you were exclusive, whatever that means to you. Hope that makes sense. Alright guys, so this concludes our list. I'm sorry if this video is a little bit lengthy. Again, I kind of anticipated it to be a little bit on the longer side because I really had a lot of ground to cover. So hopefully that makes sense to you. If you guys have any questions, as usual, please don't hesitate to write me down here, write on my TikTok page, add me on Instagram, and send me a DM, whatever it is, and I'll gladly answer as many as I can. Alright guys, so I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider giving me a thumbs up. And again, if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, please do so and hit the notification bell on so you get notified every time I post a new video. In the meantime, keep your head up and I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.